Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Coming up on the final Buffalo Stampede of the year, we're going to wrap up the basketball seasons. After the NCAAs, we're talking with assistant women's coach Alexandra Earl, head coach Tad Boyle of the men's team, plus skiing coming off the NCAA championships, and we'll put a wrap on the athletic year with athletic director Rick George. All this week on the Buffalo Stampede.
And the Buffs defense just blew that one. It's picked up and Colorado's moving in another direction. Touchdown! Got the pylon. Touchdown. Bends off the defense with their body. Elevate and slam with the right hand. Attaboy Lolo. It's a winner for the Buffs. Ball is right in front. A couple of shot fakes to Steve Perry.
Welcome to the NCAA Women's Selection Special.
Hey, and your 7-10 matchup in the Greensboro region. Colorado, the Buffaloes get the Pac-12 at large. They are taking on 10-seed Creighton. The Big East at large.
There is no better scene in sports when a college basketball team gets the news they're in the NCAA tournament. And that happened for the Colorado Buffaloes women's basketball team. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the final Buffalo Stampede of the year. On Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Kind enough to join us, Alexandra Earl, assistant coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get to you see your name come up on the screen.
Yeah, it was really fun. They did the whole, the whole production over at the Champions Building, and it was just surreal. It was an awesome time.
And it really is, it's a payoff because of all the hard work that goes in, off-season, the recruiting, everything to get to that point. It's kind of, it makes it all worthwhile.
It does, and we had some great leadership, and we had a bunch of veteran players this year that really wanted it, and they put their mind to it, and that was their goal, and they achieved that. So it was really good. Yeah.
Before we get talking about the dancing game against Creighton, how would you sit here today when you look at what this team accomplished? 13-0 at one point team, last undefeated team, men's or women's in college basketball, to do all that you were able to do this year. How would you kind of assess things?
I just think our team was relentless. This conference especially is really tough.
Amen.
And we won some big games at the end of the season, and they were just relentless the whole year. They wanted to go to the tournament, and that was a goal that they set at the beginning of the year, and so they did whatever they had to do to accomplish that. So they were fantastic.
It said something about this team. You had a phenomenal start, hit some rough bumps in the middle of the season.
Yep.
But it showed the character of the way this team was able to turn things around and be playing well down the stretch.
Yeah, and to repeat it, they were just relentless.
Yeah.
I mean, you step into Pac-12 play, and the Pac-12 conference is so good from top to bottom. So, we took some hits on the chin early in the season, but we figured it out, and we finished the season strong, and that's all that matters.
That 8-9 game in a tournament is always crazy. I don't care what. It's always a wild game.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, by the way, Creighton's in the Sweet 16. You played a very good basketball.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway from that game?
Creighton is a very good basketball team, and like you said, they just beat Iowa, to make it to the Sweet 16. But their offense is a little bit different than we've seen all year, and they shoot the ball really well, and that's what they did. So, yeah, hats off to Creighton. They did an excellent job. They're still dancing, so good luck to them. And yeah, it was a great run.
Well, the Colorado Buffaloes had a great season after that loss in the dance to the Creighton Blue Jays. We heard from a couple of the leaders, Jalen Sherrod and Maya Hollingshead.
The climb continues for Colorado. They've trailed this second half, and now Hollingshead starting to heat up.
I mean, I'm very proud of my team and, the things that we've been able to do. Especially proud of Peanut, Sela, Aubrey, who hasn't been able to play, but she's also been a presence in the locker room and just been able to talk to us and just see things that from her perspective, being on the bench instead of being in the game. And, we take that to heart. So, I love what we've been able to do. I love the heart that we had since July, honestly, and just the fighting will to do something that we said we were going to do, and we actually did it. So you can't be more happy than that.
I think the seniors set a foundation this year, and they set a standard that's just trying to get back and learn. I mean, we're going to have a pretty young group next year, so I'm just excited, and I'm really thankful that our seniors came in, did the work, showed people how to grind it out and stick to the plan. Yeah, I'm just really thankful that our seniors were able to set a foundation and set a standard that this program can continue to push forward.
Well, certainly they were disappointed after the loss in the opening round of the NCAA tournament to the great Blue Jays, but great to hear from Jalen and Maya. Now comes the time when you truly say, senior day is one thing.
Yeah.
But when it is over, it's over, and you're saying goodbye to those seniors. Yeah. Somebody like Maya, who's had a phenomenal career.
Oh, we laugh about Maya all the time. She has just made tremendous growth since when she was a freshman, a little freshman in here. Right. She's just grown so much and made such an impact on this basketball team and made our program so much better. All of those seniors have. Yeah. So we're going to miss all of them, and, Maya, of course, as well. So they've just been awesome for this group.
It's one thing, you begin to count on those senior players all the time, and then when they're gone, all of a sudden that focus now shifts entirely, doesn't it? You're saying goodbye to them, you haven't seen her back with that kind of thing, and they're gone. But how long do you wait until all of a sudden you're focused on the 22-23 season?
Now, yesterday actually. Yeah, we've been meeting and you just got to figure it out. We've lost some great players and just time to develop and get more great players.
Yeah.
So,
is there a value when you think about what those kind of players accomplished, setting a tone, setting a culture?
Yes.
That moves forward?
Yeah, absolutely. The culture that we've built in this program is phenomenal. So the goal is to obviously keep that, make it better in any way that we possibly can, and just keep getting better. And the goal is to be better than the years past.
Sure.
So that's what we're focused on now.
The bar's been set. We want to build upon that now. I know every coach then sits down. I'm sure JR and you guys as staff members, you sit down with the returning players and start giving them the view and kind of that focus and vision for the future, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, we want them to rest, obviously. It's a very long season, but the goal is to just get better and just figure it out and get the culture back and get our team acclimated with each other, with the freshmen, and so we'll figure it out.
All right. Well, I know you're busy all the time, but do you get to spend some time with that 10-month-old?
I do. Okay. Yes.
Well, that's good. That's most important during the offseason. Alexandra Earl joining us, assistant coach for the Colorado women's basketball team, as they make it to the NCAA. We're going to take a time out here to Stampede. When we come back, we're talking with men's coach Tad Boyle after this.
To the bottom of the circle, kick out right side, Hammond driving, jump pass inside, Jabari slams with two hands. Nice feed that time by Hammond, and Jabari with the jam. He's got 4. Buffs are on top by 2. De Silva, lob it on the left block, taken by Jabari. Give and go, and a slam by De Silva. Holy cow! De Silva lobbed it inside, cut it off the short corner on the left side, and a windmill dunk with the right hand.
And there's some images from the Colorado Buffaloes NIT game versus the Bonnies at St. Bonaventure back in the Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Head coach Tad Boyle joining us here for a couple of minutes. So when it ends for you, is it just like you fall off a cliff and try to figure out what life's all about, or what happens?
You get busy at the end of the year. I forget every year that when the season ends, you get busier because you have year-end player meetings, which took about 48 hours to get done, and then things just start coming at you right and left. People try to leave you alone during the season, and then when it's over with, they start coming at you. But it's good busy, and it's always a shock, to your system, because you're used to getting up and getting the practice plan ready for the day and figure out who you got to play next, and there is no next.
We were just talking before we went on camera. That St. Bonaventure team is really. They went and took care of Oklahoma quite convincingly over the weekend. That's a good basketball team you lost.
They are. We knew they were. A lot of experience. 5 seniors played 30+ minutes a game, and you don't play bad teams in mid-March. I mean, that's the bottom line. If you're playing in mid-March, you're a good team. We were a good team. We really improved as the year went on. But St. Bonaventure's, it just shows you what getting old is all about in college basketball. We're a bunch of young newbies. We had 1 senior. They had 5 Evan Baddies out there.
That's right. Without question. So when you sit here today, now that you've had a week or so to kind of look back upon it, how do you view this past season? Winning over 20 games once again, getting to the postseason?
It was a good year. It was a good. I wouldn't say it's a great year, but it was a good year. I think again, I always judge our team on how much improvement they make from day one until the end of the season. I thought this team really grew, really developed. We knew that there were going to be growing pains with this team, and there were. But I'm really proud of this group. Obviously, we had some injuries. Everybody has injuries. Sure. That's part of it. COVID. Everybody had to deal with COVID. But I'm really proud of this group sticking together. The camaraderie, the chemistry was as good as it's ever been.
Yeah, the Buffaloes end up with 21 wins in the campaign as they get knocked out in the first round of the NIT. After that ball game versus the Bonnies, we heard from one of the Buff greats, one of the favorites of all time, Evan Baddy.
Hammond with a ball fake, drives his way to paint, shovels off to Silva down the paint, scoop it up the window with the right hand, it's up and good.
We weren't ready to play tonight emotionally. mentally, and they were happy to be here. They were happy to be in the NIT. They were happy to have a chance to compete and advance, and we didn't play like it. A team that can have positive energy throughout the game and throughout possessions and throughout their time here in practice and weights, and that's the team that's going to get better. That's the team that's going to advance and elevate to a new level. They did that today. If you asked me what I would have kept the story beginning of us being Arizona, or have the chance to play in front of all these fans, the people I love, and the whole community again, I would choose the latter every time. I'm all about the Buffs, so I thought we were going to keep playing. It's been an honor, playing in front of the fans and the community, and the fans showed out today. We didn't give them a good show.
Evan Patty, after the Buffaloes get knocked out of the NIT in the first round, talking about the kind of his career there and the season that he just completed with the Buffaloes, and we continue with Tad Boyle. You mentioned a while ago postseason player meetings. What is that for folks watching? What does that consist of? What's the accomplishment you're looking for?
Well, for guys like Evan and the seniors, it's about, okay, what's next for you? How can I help you? How can we help you as you move on to your professional career or whatever it is you want to do? Obviously, with the returning players, I always say, in the months of September through March, it's every decision we make is about what's best for the program, what's best for Colorado basketball. These player meetings are totally different. It's not about what's best for the program now. It's about what is best for you. So that individual player, what do they need to get improved on? What do they need to get better at? Where are they playing time-wise? Did they start? Did they not start? How many minutes did they play? What are their goals? So it's all about what's best for that individual player. Obviously, a guy like Jabari Walker, hey, Jabari, what is best for you? What's the next steps? A lot of education that goes into all the things that go into what he's going to go through the next 2 months of his life. And we want these players to make decisions that are best for them.
So it's that decision he's got to make about going to the NBA or not.
Correct.
What role do you play in that? Are there his parents, obviously, other folks involved in that?
Yeah, I mean, look, my role is to give him information and get as much information as I can get on my end and share that with him and his family. So really it's about giving him solid, concrete information. Obviously our compliance office involved. There's a lot of paperwork that has to go into testing the waters, put your name in the draft, and then if he decides to come back to get your name out of the draft, we give him a lot of draft information for the last 2-3 years. Sure. He can see what players have done that have declared early for the draft, and some good decisions that were made and some bad decisions that were made, and he's got to make the best decision for him.
All right. Now it's time for you to work in a golf game, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait for the weather to turn.
I was going to say, as soon as it stops snowing. Head coach Tad Boyle as we take another break here. The Buffalo Stampede up next. Speaking of snowing, we're talking skiing. Back in a moment. There's some images from the CU ski team at the NCAA Championships in Park City, Utah, back in the Stampede. Voice of the bus, Mark Johnson, talking with assistant coach Chad Woke here. Well, you had a big event, obviously, in Park City, Utah. How do you come out of that feeling about the way the team performed? Finishing fourth.
Finishing fourth is not where we want to be. Right. I think that for the most part, we performed very well. Looking at the Alpine side, we were honestly 5 turns away from really doing something special. And unfortunately, those 5 turns cost us big points. Louis Fausa losing a ski in the giant slalom after being in 5th place. Magdalena Lusak, after the day before winning the GS, straddled the gate and had to hike. Philip was winning the first run of the slalom after he won the GS race. And then couldn't quite pull it together on the second run. And, Emma Hammergaard skied great, but had a mistake in the wrong spot on the hill, and it really cost her. Same thing for Jacob Dilling. And despite that, we had All-Americans, and Caitlin Harsh went from the mid to late 20s in the slalom to top 10. First time she competed for us as a senior.
Awesome.
At the NCAA Championships, and was able to punch it into top 10. And those are some of the standout moments showing that we're going in the right direction with these athletes and continuing to get better every day.
Well, I was going to say, it kind of shows you, number one, where the program is, right? We expect to win championships here at the University of Colorado. And secondly, how razor thin competing at that level is, doesn't it?
It is. And, things happen in ski racing, and it always is going to happen. But, you know, that's where our work comes in, and we want to be able to leave no doubt. We don't want to leave it to chance. We want to be able to make sure that we are good enough with the roster that we bring and with the mentality that we have in order to find a way, no matter what, to win.
Yeah, always chasing one of these guys right back here on the shelf. By the way,
exactly.
We're going to continue talking with Chad Wolk in just a moment. Right now, we look back upon a great lacrosse victory for the CU Buffaloes as they take care of the Oregon Ducks.
Well, in a matchup that pitted two teams that were hungry for their first Pac-12 win of the season, it was the 25th-ranked Colorado Buffaloes who got the job done as they beat the Oregon Ducks 13-11 on Friday evening in Eugene. Sadie Grozier ending up with 4 goals on the day. Buffs over the Ducks. It's happened now all 12 times in this series. And this latest edition goes in favor of Colorado, 13-11.
So congratulations to the CU lacrosse team. They get the victory of the Oregon Ducks as we continue here talking skiing with Chad Wolk on the Colorado Buffalo Stampede. All right, let's talk about the Nordic side now. The national champion, the NCAA championships in Park City.
At Park City, I think the Nordics came in looking for really, really strong results. They came off of the RMISA championship skiing well and trending, and the first day we were only 7 points behind Utah, and that's a huge number for us after day one in the Nordic skiing, with Hanna being 5th, I believe, in the first race, and Magnus being 3rd, and Will Koch and everyone really contributed to that performance. And looking at a possibility of only being 7 points behind as we were competing in the slalom that day, we were just ecstatic, looking forward to what could be. And then I think there was some sickness that came through the house, and with some of our dropped performances in the GS and in the slalom, it seemed like they wanted to swing for the fences. We were in striking position, easy striking position for second if they were conservative. And they wanted to win.
Yeah.
And so they left it all out on the Soldier Hollow track and tried to do what they could do to win. And it didn't work out for them. And so with combining that with some sickness, you know, it's still, effort is never a question.
Sure.
And those things can happen. I think there was a lot of little pieces that went wrong in those 2 days for the Nordics, you know, that they evaluate.
Now the season comes to an end like this. What happens to the ski team? I mean, how long do you wait till you're right back at it? And I know some will have some non-NCAA events that get coming up.
For sure. The Nordics are actually in Whistler right now, competing in the Canadian National Championships, and then we are leaving either Thursday for the men and Friday for the women to go compete at the U.S. National Championships in Sugarloaf, Maine, as well as the NORAM Finals, which are individual competitions, but ski racing is a international sport, which allows us to gauge where we're at in the world.
You bet. And besides that, there's been some fresh powder up in the mountains.
There has been.
Hey, Chad, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, assistant coach Chad Wolk joining us as we talk NCAA skiing for the Colorado Buffaloes. Coming up next in Stampede, we're going to meet up with the head Buffalo athletic director, Rick George. Well, the calendar may have just flipped to spring, but the outdoor track season already underway. The Jerry Quiller Classic and a great start for outdoor track for the Colorado Buffaloes. Back in the Stampede, our final segment here. Rick George, athletic director, joining us. What happens when we get to this time of year? Now, there's still some sports left, but do you kind of catch your breath a little bit, or what happens?
No, you take a deep breath and then get ready for the next thing that's coming. And certainly with, lacrosse in full swing and outdoor track and both of our golf programs and tennis, I mean, there's a lot going on right now. And, we're getting towards the end of the semester. Spring football starts. I mean, so a lot going on these next couple weeks.
This has really been not only a long year, but a long couple of years in the world of college athletics.
Very long.
Very long. When you sit here, and we're not entirely through it, obviously, right now, but as you sit here, what have you learned, do you think, about college athletics, and specifically about CU?
It's changing. Yeah. It's volatile. There's a lot going on, and, you've got to really pay attention to what's going on out there. And, with name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal rule changes there, we've just got to be very mindful of what's going on around us.
Yeah. And from a CU standpoint, being competitive, you found it to be more difficult, or in terms of what we do on the field, is it kind of business?
No, I don't think it's more competitive. I mean, look, the reality is that, you've had COVID, you've had people, you've had older teams in a lot of sports, and we certainly haven't had the older teams, and particularly in men's basketball and football, we've been younger. But a lot of schools have a more experienced team because you got 6-year seniors, you got 5th-year seniors, you got grad transfers. I think that'll settle down a little bit as we move forward. But again, the transfer portal, NIL hitting at the same time, it's kind of convergence of that we've just got to be thoughtful about what we're going to do as a Buff family.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that right now. In fact, with the NCAA tournament going on, those older teams. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. Football, what Carl was able to do. And now, I know you're real high on what he's done from a staff standpoint moving forward.
Yeah, I'm really excited about where we're going to end up this fall and spring practice as well. I mean, I really like this football staff. I like the coaches that he brought on board. I've said before that this is one of the better staffs that we've had since I've been here, and I'm really excited about what they and the team do this fall.
Well, we mentioned track off the top. Go back to the indoor season, and Michaela DeGennaro for the Buffaloes was a national champion in the NCAA mile.
So now a breakaway. That is Michaela DeGennaro of Colorado, and she ups the ante.
Yes, she did, boy, and it's like poker. You got to get in the game, and then you can start playing your chips. She had a personal best yesterday of 4:34.19.
Michaela DeGennaro of Colorado, Cinta Visa is trying to gather herself and catch her. It's just not going to happen. But Colorado goes 1st and 4th in the women's mile.
My plan going in was just to find my comfort spot earlier in the race and just kind of see how it unfolds. I'm comfortable running from the back, so I wanted to stay out of trouble. Went to the back early. Felt good with 2 laps to go, and so I kind of just went for it. With 200 to go, I was like, uh-oh, maybe I went a little early, but my high school coach always said if you make a move, you have to slam the door, so I just tried to hold on for dear life, and I guess no one came back, so I wasn't expecting that.
Michaela DeGennaro, NCAA champion in the mile. As Rick George always talks about, here we're competing for championships here, right? Great example.
No, it's a great example, and she ran one heck of a race, and fun to watch that, and what Mark and Heather and Billy have been able to accomplish with our distance runners. They've really done a great job, and I know this spring, with the finish of the outdoor season, we're going to see a lot of exceptional performances as well.
We see a lot of every once in a while Rick's down working out with student athletes. I haven't seen you on the track with Michaela though.
No, I haven't. I don't want to embarrass myself, and I don't want to pull a hammy.
He can get in the weight room. He's not going to run with it. I guarantee you that.
Exactly right.
Just like me. Hey, let's talk a little basketball. For both Tad Boyle and for J.R. Payne, what they did this year, 20 wins, getting into the NCAA tournament for the women, getting the postseason for the men. What's your assessment there?
My assessment is that's what I'd like to see every year. I'd like men's basketball, and I know Tad does too, wants to be in the postseason and want to be in the NCAA tournament. I think now that our women have got a taste of the NCAA tournament, we got to make this a consistent thing that we do every year. And, as we start to stack that up, our program continues to elevate. I'm really excited about JR and Tad as the head coaches of those 2 programs, and I look forward to what they will be able to accomplish in the years to come.
Yeah, great season for both the men and the women from a skiing standpoint. Talking about winning championships. Well, we kind of expect that around here, don't we, from skiing?
Look, yeah, we do, but, to have 2 giant slalom champions, NCAA champions, is really a great milestone for us. And I know Andy's not happy about finishing 4th. But, first year, feel really good about the progress that he made, and I think we're going to see them continue to rise until they're on top of that podium as a team.
As we stand here, Rick's office, you and I are looking out the window behind our camera right now, that football stadium. I know when fall rolls around, you want number 1 wins, but you want that place to be full, and it's season ticket time of year, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's important for us to have a full crowd, and our students have really come out and supported us, and our fans did last year. We were 2nd in the conference for percentage of attendance that came to our games, and so we need to build on that and certainly understand people's angst about last year, but that's behind us. We're moving forward, and we're focused on having a really great fall.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, this is the final show of the year. See what we did here? We left the best for last. That's the way this works out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Or he was the only one available for
That's
the last
right, exactly.
Athletic Director Rick George, as we put a wrap this year on the Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Can't wait till the fall. We start talking football. We'll talk to you next time.